In 2018, President Trump levied a 150% tariff on goods from BRICS nations. This bold and unprecedented move sent shockwaves through the global economic community. The BRICS nations, comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, were significant players in the world economy, and this tariff was seen as a direct challenge to their growing influence. The decision was part of Trump's broader strategy to protect American industries and reduce the trade deficit, but it also had far-reaching implications for international trade relations. This aggressive move aimed to stifle their economic rise and maintain U.S. dominance. Trump and his administration believed that by imposing such high tariffs, they could force the BRICS nations to renegotiate trade deals on terms more favorable to the United States. The tariffs were intended to make imported goods from these countries significantly more expensive, thereby encouraging American consumers and businesses to buy domestically produced products instead. This protectionist approach was a cornerstone of Trump's economic policy, which he often referred to as America First. Trump believed these tariffs would cripple the BRICS bloc. He argued that the economic pressure would be too much for these countries to bear, leading to a significant downturn in their economies. The administration's calculations were based on the assumption that the BRICS nations were heavily dependent on the U.S. market for their exports. By cutting off this vital revenue stream, Trump hoped to weaken their economic power and, by extension, their geopolitical influence. He predicted their economies would falter. The expectation was that the high tariffs would lead to a decrease in exports, causing factories to shut down and leading to job losses in the BRICS countries. This economic downturn would, in theory, create internal political pressure on the governments of these nations to come to the negotiating table and agree to more favorable trade terms with the United States. Trump's administration was confident that this strategy would yield quick results, leading to a rebalancing of global trade in favor of the U.S. He even claimed that BRICS would break up under the pressure. Trump and his advisors believed that the economic strain would not only weaken the individual economies of the BRICS nations, but also strain the political and economic ties that held the bloc together. They anticipated that the countries would turn against each other in a bid to secure their own economic survival, leading to the disintegration of the BRICS alliance. This, in turn, would reduce the collective bargaining power of these nations on the global stage, further cementing U.S. dominance. However, Trump's prediction proved wildly inaccurate. Instead of succumbing to the economic pressure, the BRICS nations demonstrated remarkable resilience. They quickly adapted to the new economic reality, finding ways to mitigate the impact of the tariffs. This resilience was a testament to the strength and adaptability of their economies, as well as their ability to work together in the face of external challenges. The BRICS nations were not only able to withstand the economic pressure but also used it as a catalyst for further economic integration and cooperation. Instead of crumbling, the BRICS nations rallied together. They saw the tariffs as a common challenge that required a collective response. The leaders of the BRICS countries held numerous meetings to discuss strategies for countering the impact of the tariffs and strengthening their economic ties. They explored new trade routes, diversified their export markets, and increased intra-BRICS trade. This collaborative approach not only helped them weather the storm but also strengthened the bonds between the BRICS nations, making their alliance more robust than ever. They accelerated the development of their own payment system, BRICS Pay. This was a significant step towards reducing their dependence on the US dollar and the American financial system. BRICS Pay was designed to facilitate transactions between the member countries, making it easier and more cost-effective to conduct trade. The development of this payment system was a clear indication of the BRICS nations' commitment to creating an alternative financial infrastructure that could operate independently of the US-dominated global financial system. This strategic move was a direct response to Trump's tariff threats. The BRICS nations recognized that they needed to take proactive measures to protect their economies from external shocks. By developing their own payment system, they were able to reduce their vulnerability to U.S. economic policies and create a more stable and predictable environment for trade. This move also sent a strong message to the rest of the world that the BRICS nations were capable of standing up to economic pressure and finding innovative solutions to protect their interests. It signaled a turning point in global trade. The development of BRICS Pay and the increased economic cooperation between the BRICS nations marked a significant shift in the global economic landscape. It demonstrated that the BRICS countries were not only capable of withstanding economic pressure, but also of taking bold steps to reshape the global trade system. This turning point was a clear indication that the balance of economic power was shifting, with the BRICS nations emerging as a formidable force in the global economy. The BRICS nations saw Trump's tariffs as an opportunity. Rather than viewing the tariffs as a purely negative development, they saw them as a catalyst for change. The tariffs forced the BRICS countries to rethink their economic strategies and find new ways to strengthen their economies. This included investing in new technologies, diversifying their export markets, and increasing economic cooperation with each other. The tariffs also highlighted the need for the BRICS nations to reduce their dependence on the U.S. market and develop more resilient and self-sufficient economies. They recognized the need for an alternative financial system. The tariffs underscored the vulnerabilities of relying too heavily on the U.S. dollar and the American financial system. In response, the BRICS nations accelerated their efforts to develop alternative financial systems that could operate independently of the U.S. This included exploring the use of alternative currencies for trade, developing new financial technologies, and creating institutions that could support these efforts. The goal was to create a more balanced and equitable global financial system that was not dominated by any single country. This system would operate outside the U.S.-controlled framework. By developing their own financial systems, the BRICS nations aimed to reduce their dependence on the U.S. and create a more diversified and resilient global economy. This included establishing new financial hubs, creating institutions to support these efforts, and developing technologies to facilitate international trade. The goal was to create a more balanced and equitable global financial system that could support sustainable economic growth and development for all countries. It would allow them to trade without relying on the U.S. dollar. This was a significant step towards reducing their vulnerability to U.S. economic policies and creating a more stable and predictable environment for trade. By developing their own financial systems and reducing their dependence on the U.S. dollar, the BRICS nations were able to create a more resilient and self-sufficient global economy. This move also sent a strong message to the rest of the world that the BRICS nations were capable of standing up to economic pressure and finding innovative solutions to protect their interests. BRICS Pay emerged as the solution to a long-standing problem in international trade and finance. For decades, the global financial system has been dominated by the U.S. dollar, which has served as the world's primary reserve currency. This dominance has given the United States significant influence over global trade and finance, often to the detriment of other nations. However, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have been seeking ways to reduce their dependence on the U.S. dollar and create a more balanced and equitable global financial system. BRICS Pay is a major step in that direction. Launched in 2018, this innovative system facilitates transactions in local currencies, allowing businesses and consumers to conduct cross-border transactions without the need for dollar conversions. This not only simplifies the process, but also reduces the costs associated with currency exchange. By enabling transactions in local currencies, BRICS Pay helps to strengthen the economies of the member nations and promotes greater financial independence. This key feature bypasses the need for U.S. dollar conversions, which have traditionally been a major hurdle in international trade. The reliance on the dollar has often led to increased transaction costs and exchange rate risks, making it more difficult for businesses in BRICS nations to compete on the global stage. By eliminating the need for dollar conversions, BRICS Pay levels the playing field and makes it easier for businesses to engage in international trade. It also circumvents the SWIFT system, the traditional network for international payments. The SWIFT system has long been dominated by Western financial institutions, giving them significant control over global financial transactions. By creating an alternative to SWIFT, BRICS Pay reduces the influence of Western financial institutions and provides BRICS nations with greater control over their financial transactions. This is a crucial step towards creating a more balanced and equitable global financial system. This move towards de-dollarization is significant. For years, the dominance of the U.S. dollar has given the United States unparalleled influence over global trade and finance. By reducing their reliance on the dollar, BRICS nations are taking a stand against this dominance and asserting their financial independence. This shift has the potential to reshape the global financial landscape and create a more multipolar world. It allows BRICS nations to reduce their reliance on the US dollar, which has often been used as a tool of economic and political leverage by the United States. By creating a system that allows for transactions in local currencies, BRICS Pay empowers these nations to take control of their financial destinies and reduce their vulnerability to external pressures. This is a crucial step towards achieving true financial independence and creating a more balanced global financial system. This weakens America's grip on global finance. For decades, the United States has used its control over the global financial system to exert influence over other nations. By reducing their reliance on the dollar, BRICS nations are challenging this dominance and creating a more balanced and equitable global financial system. This shift has the potential to weaken America's influence and create a more multipolar world. It also allows these emerging economies to assert their growing influence on the global stage. The BRICS nations represent some of the world's fastest-growing economies, and their increasing economic power is reshaping the global financial landscape. By creating a system that allows for transactions in local currencies, BRICS Pay empowers these nations to take control of their financial destinies and assert their influence on the global stage. This is a crucial step towards creating a more balanced and equitable global financial system. BRICS Pay represents a shift towards a multipolar world, where power is no longer concentrated solely in the hands of the West. This shift has the potential to create a more balanced and equitable global financial system, where all nations have a say in how the system is run. By reducing their reliance on the dollar and creating a system that allows for transactions in local currencies, BRICS nations are taking a stand against the dominance of the West and asserting their financial independence. Power is no longer concentrated solely in the hands of the West. The rise of the BRICS nations and the creation of BRICS Pay represent a significant shift in the global balance of power. By reducing their reliance on the dollar and creating a system that allows for transactions in local currencies, BRICS nations are challenging the dominance of the West and asserting their financial independence. This shift has the potential to create a more balanced and equitable global financial system. This new system empowers BRICS nations by giving them greater control over their financial transactions. By reducing their reliance on the dollar and creating a system that allows for transactions in local currencies, BRICS Pay empowers these nations to take control of their financial destinies and assert their influence on the global stage. This is a crucial step towards creating a more balanced and equitable global financial system. It gives them greater control over their financial destinies, allowing them to reduce their vulnerability to external pressures and assert their financial independence. By creating a system that allows for transactions in local currencies, BRICS Pay empowers these nations to take control of their financial destinies and create a more balanced and equitable global financial system. This is a crucial step towards achieving true financial independence and creating a more balanced global financial system. The emergence of BRICS Pay is reshaping global trade. It offers a viable alternative to the US-dominated system. This is particularly appealing to countries wary of Western sanctions or economic pressure. The impact of BRICS Pay is already being felt. China, India, and Russia are increasingly using their own currencies for trade. This reduces their dependence on the US dollar. It also strengthens their economic ties. This trend has significant implications for the United States. As BRICS Pay gains traction, the US dollar's dominance is challenged. This could lead to a decline in the dollar's value. It could also make it more expensive for the US to import goods. Section 4. The US dollar under pressure. Navigating the BRICS Pay challenge. The rise of BRICS Pay presents challenges for the US economy. The potential decline of the dollar's dominance could fuel inflation, making imported goods more expensive for American consumers. Moreover, the US could face difficulties in securing favorable trade deals. As BRICS Pay gains wider acceptance, emerging markets may be less inclined to prioritize agreements with the US. This shift in economic power could also diminish America's geopolitical influence. As BRICS nations gain financial independence, they are likely to assert themselves more forcefully on the world stage. Section 5. The future of finance. A multipolar world takes shape. As we delve into the intricate web of global finance, it's clear that the landscape is undergoing a seismic shift. The traditional dominance of a single superpower is being challenged, and a new multipolar world is emerging. This transformation is not just a theoretical concept, but a tangible reality that is unfolding before our eyes. The implications of this shift are profound, affecting everything from international trade to geopolitical alliances. In this section, we will explore the forces driving this change and the potential outcomes for the global financial system. The future of global finance is in flux. Traditional financial systems are being disrupted by technological advancements and shifting economic power centers. The rise of digital currencies, blockchain technology, and decentralized finance are just a few examples of how innovation is reshaping the financial landscape. These changes are not happening in isolation but are part of a broader trend towards a more interconnected and interdependent world. As financial markets become more volatile and unpredictable, the need for new strategies and approaches becomes increasingly apparent. Investors, policymakers, and businesses must adapt to this new reality or risk being left behind. The emergence of BRICS Pay signals a move away from a unipolar system dominated by the United States. This new payment system, developed by the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, aims to create an alternative to the US dollar-dominated financial system. By providing a platform for cross-border transactions that bypasses traditional financial intermediaries, BRICS Pay represents a significant challenge to the status quo. The motivations behind this initiative are multifaceted, ranging from a desire for greater financial sovereignty to a strategic effort to reduce dependence on the US dollar. As more countries and businesses begin to adopt BRICS Pay, its influence is likely to grow, potentially reshaping the global financial order. While BRICS Pay faces challenges, its potential impact is undeniable. The system must overcome technical, regulatory, and political hurdles to achieve widespread adoption. Issues such as interoperability with existing financial systems, regulatory compliance, and cybersecurity are critical factors that will determine its success. Additionally, the geopolitical landscape plays a significant role in shaping the future of BRICS Pay. Tensions between the BRICS nations and the United States, as well as internal dynamics within the BRICS group, could influence the trajectory of this initiative. Despite these challenges, the potential benefits of BRICS Pay are substantial, offering a more inclusive and diversified global financial system. Its success hinges on its ability to attract more countries and businesses to adopt the system. The network effect is a powerful force in the world of finance, and the more participants BRICS Pay can bring on board, the more valuable and effective it will become. To achieve this, the BRICS nations must engage in robust diplomacy and outreach efforts, building trust and demonstrating the advantages of their system. This includes addressing concerns about transparency, governance, and the potential for misuse. By fostering a collaborative and inclusive approach, BRICS Pay can position itself as a viable alternative to the existing financial order. If it achieves widespread adoption, it could reshape the landscape of global trade and finance, ushering in a new era of multipolarity. The implications of such a shift are far-reaching, affecting not only financial markets but also international relations and economic policies. A more multipolar financial system could lead to greater stability and resilience as power and influence are distributed more evenly across different regions. This could also encourage more innovation and competition, driving economic growth and development. However, it also presents new challenges, such as the need for enhanced coordination and cooperation among diverse stakeholders. The rise of BRICS Pay is a stark reminder that the world is changing. The traditional power structures that have defined the global financial system for decades are being questioned and redefined. This is not just a shift in economic power but also a transformation in how we think about and engage with the world. The emergence of new financial systems and technologies is challenging our assumptions and forcing us to reconsider our strategies and priorities. As we navigate this new landscape, it is essential to remain adaptable and open to new possibilities. The United States can no longer assume its economic dominance is unassailable. The rise of alternative financial systems and the increasing influence of emerging economies are reshaping the global balance of power. This presents both challenges and opportunities for the United States. On one hand, it must contend with the erosion of its traditional economic advantages and the need to adapt to a more competitive and dynamic environment. On the other hand, this shift also offers the chance to innovate and lead in new areas, such as digital currencies and financial technology. By embracing change and investing in the future, the United States can continue to play a pivotal role in the global financial system. The future belongs to those who adapt and innovate. In a rapidly changing world, the ability to anticipate and respond to new trends and challenges is crucial. This requires a forward-thinking mindset and a willingness to embrace new ideas and technologies. For businesses, this means investing in research and development, fostering a culture of innovation, and staying ahead of the curve. For policymakers, it means creating an enabling environment that supports innovation and addresses the regulatory and ethical implications of new technologies. By working together, we can build a more resilient and inclusive global financial system that benefits everyone. The BRICS nations have thrown down the gauntlet. Their efforts to create an alternative financial system are a bold statement of intent and a challenge to the existing order. This is not just about economic power, but also about asserting their place in the world and shaping the future of global finance. The success of BRICS Pay will depend on their ability to navigate the complex and often contentious landscape of international finance. By working together and leveraging their collective strengths, the BRICS nations have the potential to drive significant change and create a more balanced and equitable global financial system. The question is, how will the United States respond? The rise of BRICS Pay and the broader trend towards a multipolar world present a critical juncture for the United States. Will it resist these changes and cling to its traditional dominance, or will it embrace the new reality and seek to lead in new ways? The answer to this question will have profound implications for the future of global finance and the broader international order. As we move forward, it is essential to engage in thoughtful and informed discussions about the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. By doing so, we can navigate this period of transformation and build a more inclusive and sustainable global financial system.